Raw was in Saudi Arabia on November the 4th, 2024. A taped episode of Monday Night Raw. So nothing too exciting occurred. We basically just settled who the number one contenders were for these, apparently, for these championships in very boring ways. A battle royal and a fatal four-way, and it's very boring opponents too, by the way, Other than that, there's not much on the show worth discussing, but I'm going to do my best because I think you should always put your best foot forward. I'm going to truncate this thing. I'm going to assume everybody at least watched the show or read the spoilers, so I'm not going to go into any real detail. But Liv and and Bianca, they have a segment where Liv Morgan is being challenged by Bianca and Jade Cargill, who want her to have a tag team championship match tonight because of all that yin yang she was talking over the course of the last couple of weeks. Liv Morgan wasn't really interested in that though, and wanted to celebrate her big win at Crown Jewel. So Bianca sat and listened to Liv Morgan try to spin this web of her and Jade, or Bianca and Jade, being fake friends, and how they both think that they're the best and all this kind of stuff. I mean, that's not really an important element here. Adam Pearce came out yelling as if somebody had done something wrong, and then Bianca punched Liv, and then we got told about the Battle Royal, and then every woman on the roster ended up getting flown to Saudi Arabia to have this Battle Royal. And Io Sky wins the Battle Royal because Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez, they pretty much eliminated Jade and Bianca by grabbing Bianca by the braid. And then Jade, who tried to help, she got yanked over the top rope too. So Jade and Bianca chased off Liv and Raquel. So they weren't around for the finish when Io Sky suplexed Lyra Valkyria onto the ring apron in order to win the match. I said in the Discord, I maintain this. Triple H has got to be an unsavory relationship with Io Sky. The relentless Io Sky push, it has been almost non-stop since she re-signed with WWE. It's been going on nigh 2 years that this thing has just been a relentless push of Io. Look, people like Io, just generally. I don't know anybody who doesn't like her. But enough's enough. I feel like we just did this thing with Io. She was just a champion. She just wrestled for a title on Saturday. Now, I'm a big Bianca Belair booster, clearly. But I'm not even pitching for Bianca to win here. I'm pitching for literally anybody else. Liv Morgan needs quality wins. She needs opponents. Sure, and Io is that, but I feel like Io is a person who is always in the title picture. Like, literally always. She's wrestling for a tag title, or she's wrestling for the singles championship, and it's a constant thing that Io specifically is featured more than any other woman not named Rhea Ripley on Monday Night Raw. She literally is more featured than Liv Morgan until Liv Morgan joins the Judgment Day. Because Judgment Day, right? And it's ridiculous. It's literally nonsensical that you have all these other women on the roster and you don't do nothing with them. Not even considering doing anything with them. Now, in terms of the tag team feud, I'm actually okay with that. They actually planted seeds with that before. This, of course, is going to likely devolve into both Bianca and Jade getting singles championship matches. Which I guess is the right thing to do. I don't have a problem with that. But I do absolutely have a problem with Io Sky winning. Do I have a better option? I'm not going to lie to you. I really don't. I mean, I'm just trying to think about the field, and it's like, okay, well, Lyra was the second person in the match, and she's not over, and nobody cares about her. As a matter of fact, I don't know when the last time she was even on TV before this. And that can be said about a lot of people running around that joint in them cat suits. I mean, I don't understand how Shayna Baszler looked like Conan the Barbarian even when she's wearing a cat suit. I don't get it. I don't understand how that occurred, but it did. So and most of the Raw roster are females or heels anyway. So it was either Lyra Valkyria or like Zelina Vega or something. So that it wasn't going to work. I guess it had to be EO. But it just goes to show how thin the division is. That we keep going back to the well with the same person over and over again. I mean, enough's enough. Speaking of enough's enough, I don't even want to talk about New Day. They're still dragging out this breakup argument. I don't even give a shit no more. This stuff has been going on for a good 6 months. I mean, it don't take a volcano this long to explode. I mean, what the fuck? This is taking forever. So the Miz has been kidnapped by Uncle Howdy, aka Bo Dallas. They showed a very short clip of Miz telling Bo Dallas he was going to make him a star and all that kind of shit, which has to be a good 6 or 7 years old at this point. And Miz, of course, is like, oh, I'm not a member of Final Testament. And then he's told, we weren't looking for Final Testament. We're looking for you. And he's like, no. So the Miz is, they called him a liar, and that he makes false promises. You know what? This whole thing being based off of Bo Dallas being in the Miz Tourage and being a sidekick for the Miz, and now he wants to make the Miz pay for all of the lies the Miz sold to him. That's fine. I don't have a problem with that. I have a problem with, him taking so long to get here. I mean, again, it's been a good 6 or 7 years. Miz is a known liar. He's lied to every sidekick he's ever had. He lied to Alex Riley. He lied to Damian Sandow. He lied to R-Truth. He lies to all of his sidekicks. I mean, he's duplicitous. That's what he is. That's the Miz's character. He uses people to get what he wants, and then he dumps them. I think he even lied to Johnny Nitro. He lies to everybody. He's duplicitous. That's what he does. I'm not thrilled about the Bo Dallas Miz matches. I see that on the horizon, and I'm cringing. It's like looking directly into the sun. You got to squint. Like, I'm not looking forward to them at all. So maybe Final Testament will still get involved with this, because that could make things interesting. But I'm not interested in Karrion Kross doing a job for Bo Dallas either. Bo Dallas just happens to be a black and gold NXT guy, doesn't he? Huh. Funny how that works out. Oh, if you were in that black and gold NXT, oh boy, you get the rocket strapped to your back, huh? Oh my God. Moving on. Sami Zayn came out there. I didn't know Sami Zayn spoke 3 languages. Apparently he speaks French, Arabic, and English, which is actually quite impressive. I'm always impressed by people who can speak more than one language. We get this whole thing between him and the Usos, where Jimmy say he's not family, while Jay say that he is. Sami says that he will not be put on trial by this family again, and that he doesn't want anything to do with this. He's leaving. Because Jimmy thinks that he kicked Roman on purpose. Jimmy thinks that Sami Zayn kicked Roman on purpose, while Jay isn't sure. So Jay asked Sami to come to SmackDown so they can talk it out. Jimmy said, well, he ain't family. And Jay said that he is. He says he sees Jimmy Uso, Jay Uso, Sami Uso. The crowd pops, because not only does he speak their language, but this is what they've been chanting all night. They've been chanting Sami Uso. And some people are going to feel a certain way about him speaking Arabic and saying how good it feels to speak their language in front of his people. And I was like, oh, that is kind of cool. It's very nice. It's a rare moment that you have a Monday Night Raw in Saudi Arabia. I mean, I don't think it ever happened before. I think they had a SmackDown, a little while back, but I don't think they had a Raw before. And the only thing about these Saudi shows, the crowds do get excited. Early Saudi shows, the crowd was terrible. But in the most recent years, especially the last maybe 2 or 3 years, the Saudi crowd has been mostly the regular wrestling fans. So instead of all the sheiks being in the front row looking at everything, like, when WCW went to North Korea and everybody was just looking like there was a gun to their head. It's not like that anymore. So like you see kids and stuff. So that's the target audience. I don't understand why people still have a problem with this. It's like a lot of the people that are in there are not the people who are going to smack their sisters for not wearing a hijab. So they're watching wrestling shows. I mean, get over it. So that was very cool. Dragon Lee defeated Chad Gable. Of two minds on this. One, I'm very happy that Dragon Lee won. Second, the match was cold as ice. I didn't understand why this match was so long and it was so cold. 3, Chad Gable lost, which is not good. He's very talented. It seemed like he dared, Triple H insisted on getting Chad Gable over about a year ago, right? He was shoving Chad Gable up your ass. And then it finally got over. It finally worked. And then he was like, you know what? I changed my mind. And then cut his nuts off. And it's been like this ever since. He's just been dressing like a bootleg Kurt Angle and losing matches. That's been the gimmick since February? Since March, at the very least, right? I don't care. Dragon Lee is very good. I like him. Somehow, for some reason, Chad Gable was distracted by Rey Mysterio and kept trying to snatch his mask off. Don't know why. So it looked like it's going to be an LWO American-made feud. Why? Why? What is anybody going to get out of this? Like, does anybody get out of this? Is anybody going to get something out of this? No. At least Dragon Lee won a match, so I can't complain too much. Gunther and Kaiser had an interesting back and forth here, as Kaiser said that Cody got lucky, while Gunther disagreed and said he didn't get lucky. He was the better man that night. And I'm like, what is Gunther talking about here? Like, I understand, sportsmanship and everything, but Kaiser's trying to, he's trying to bullshit his way out of this, What's going on? Let him bullshit, But Gunther is like, nah. And then he's, starts talking about the Fatal 4-Way. And then he mentions Sheamus and says, oh yeah, Sheamus, you wanted to handle Sheamus. And then he ends the segment with another needle at Kaiser by saying, I need to do better. And then he says, we need to do better. We both need to do better. Basically saying that Kaiser needs to do what he says he's going to do. And Gunther lost to Cody Rhodes and he has to be better. And I appreciate that. But it's still kind of babyface-ish for Gunther, which is weird. Like, I don't understand why all of a sudden I guess being super honorable is kind of within his character, but it seemed like an odd turn to make. Maybe this was the point of this is to motivate Ludwig Kaiser, but I don't know. I kind of feel like he gave Cody a lot of credit. He disrespected Dominic, which pretty much everybody who talked about this Fatal 4-Way did, which it seems like is a foreshadowing for Dominic to win. But of course, that's not what they're going to do. They're not going to go there. So the main event, Dominic Mysterio takes the pin against Damian Priest, Sheamus, and Seth Rollins. Damian Priest won the match. Which is not a surprise because they pretty much said that was going to happen weeks ago, which is what makes these Fatal 4-Way, like, you might as well just talk your way into a championship match if you've already in a feud or whatever with the champion. Just save your breath. This is another one of those situations where it's the same shit over and over again. Like, Damian Priest has been in the title picture all year. You know, and look, as much as I love Dominic, I don't know. You can't do Dominic versus Gunther. That's heel versus heel. So it should have been somebody else, you know. And I keep agitating for just a different look to the show. Like, these shows come across as being so samey because it's almost always the same people, you know, working fatal four ways or triple threats or whatever, and getting these cheap championship matches that aren't, at the end of the day, not going to have too much heat to them. And so now Damian Priest has this match, and I'm like, I like Damian Priest, but I don't care about this. I just saw these guys wrestle. Damian Priest was a extremely mid world champion. I don't see it working. You know, I don't see it working this time better than it did last time. And I certainly don't see Damian Priest winning the belt back, especially considering Gunther just lost to Cody. So maybe he needed somebody else to be in this spot for a little while in order for Gunther to get his wins up. You know, I would have suggested somebody like Rey Mysterio, who I think would have been a great opponent for somebody like Gunther. A guy like Dragon Lee would have been a great opponent for Gunther too, because he's, you know, a smaller guy. You know, could have a fresh matchup. You know, there's other people that we could have used, and we could have had Damian Priest work his way in to a rematch some other way. You know, but we're stuck with this. That big panda bear, Bronson Reed, came out and beat up Damian Priest and Sheamus and Seth Rollins and gave them all a tsunami. Crazy enough that Damian Priest took a tsunami and still managed to win. Amazing. Meanwhile, despite all of this, Dominic Mysterio was untouched because he was cowering in a corner somewhere. And then Seth Rollins got crushed through a table, so his night was over right there. All very interesting stuff. They're continuing the Seth Rollins Bronson Reed thing. I can't pull myself to care about Bronson Reed. I really can't. But I am willing to say at least he's new. At least he's different. And we really didn't need Seth Rollins in that spot. And we really didn't need any more Sheamus versus Gunther matches. You know, it would have been interesting for the world title, but we didn't really need any more of those. And I guess if you're not finished with Rollins and Reed, then maybe Rollins should not have won that match clean, which he did. You know, like, they don't know how to protect people in booking, in modern booking and wrestling. You know, they should be booking Bronson Reed like Umaga. You know, remember when Umaga first lost to John Cena? It was like a complete and total fluke. And then that led to the big rematch, which ended up being the last man standing match, I think it was, that the two had. You know, that's kind of how Bronson Reed should be booked. It should have been a complete and total fluke that Seth Rollins won. And that should have made everybody want to see Bronson Reed tear him apart even more. But they didn't book it that way. They had him get his face stomped into the mat. So, again, very weird booking. I don't know how Sheamus ended up in this match. You had to pick 4 people to put in the match and you picked Sheamus? Well, I don't got no problem with Sheamus. It's just, how did we get to the Sheamus part? Like, where did that come from? Who did he beat? Oh, he beat Kaiser. So, a bunch of people beat Kaiser. That doesn't mean that damn thing. And here it is, another week, second week in a row, actually, with no Braun Breaker and no mention of the Intercontinental Championship at all. Not even a video package to celebrate or talk about the Intercontinental Championship. I think the Intercontinental Championship was only mentioned in relation to other people. I don't get it. What? You got this guy as your Intercontinental Champion. He's supposed to be like your star for the future. You got nothing. See, this is what I mean by I don't understand how Triple H is getting away with the booking style that he's doing, because him relying on the same people over and over and over again, not featuring anybody new, not featuring talent for weeks at a time. I'm not even saying that Braun Breaker should wrestle on this show or cut a promo on this show. I'm saying he should be seen on the show. I'm saying other people should be talking about him on the show. Other people should be chasing that title on the show. And I get it that, Raw lost 1 full hour. Okay, but guess what that means? Shorter matches. That's what that means. There was only 4 matches on today's show, which is fine. But I think 2 of them were pretty long. It didn't need to be. And you also had a pretty lengthy in-ring segment with the Usos and Sami. But this Raw wasn't very good, but it was taped, so it wasn't going to be very good. But these Saudi shows are tough. They're real tough to sit through, brother. But let me know what you guys think. I'll talk to you guys later.
No one does it better.